the ex-housekeeper often death.
Welcome to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. What's up, guys? We are excited for a huge episode. We got lots to talk about. If you didn't check out CTE Monday, we got so much more to even talk about. It was a wild, crazy show. And I think Carlos and Chris understand what I deal with every week, trying to get you to shut up, you know?
Come on now, man.
You know, it's like,
be
hey,
honest. Be honest.
What?
That was a great show.
Oh, it was great. It was
That
just
was a
2
great show.
hours, you know? It was like, bro, like,
I know.
can't cover every single thing because we have a show we got to do that we're going to talk about stuff tonight, right? So, you know, over there trying to build their show up, you know, golly, what are you doing?
Have you ever ran out of things to say?
No, we don't. No, we don't. That's what I mean. So we wouldn't have. So it was a fun time, guys. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. And actually, I think on the podcast they only posted the second part.
Yeah, there's like an extra half an hour.
Yeah, because of actually Travis came in and cut off our show, but yeah, which was kind of funny. So
that was a cool little bit though too.
Yeah, I think that's going to be on Patreon as well. So go check
cool.
that out. Willie Marshall, what's up, man? What's up? So I am sharing this to all the groups. Insiders, hope you guys are doing great. It was great seeing some of you guys and talking to a lot of you guys at Ocean State Grand Nationals. You know, many of you guys came and talked to me. There's some did not talk to me. I guess they don't want to be featured on the show. That's okay. That happens sometimes, you know. I get the weird thing now being on the podcast.
Wait.
You know, it's a weird thing. It's like,
wait, what do you mean?
Like, all right, there's sometimes people that I don't know if they're coming up and talk to me because they just want you to be featured. They want me to like feature them on the show and talk about them. Or if there's people that, you know, are kind of like, wait, we can't tell him nothing because he'll put it on the show. I'm not that type of person who just says everything that happens. No, I'll tell my opinion. I'll tell the things that I think need to be told. I'm not going to tell your secrets. Jeez.
There's quite a bit that nobody knows.
Right. There's a lot that nobody knows, and it's okay. But so that was just funny. But overall, it was a great weekend, huge tournament, and we're gonna get into that as well. Congrats.
Are you drinking tea?
Yeah, bro. Always drinking tea.
Do you drink? You don't drink coffee. You drink tea?
Yeah, I don't drink coffee anymore for about 2-3 years now. Yeah,
like
I drink.
Huh? For real?
Yeah. Remember, I thought I shared that before. I just I decided, all right, I'm not gonna do that anymore. It's way too acidic to my body. And
yeah, but that's like one of those things where people say, like, I'm gonna be a vegetarian, and you're like, oh, good for you. But you think in like 2 months they're gonna give it up.
Yeah, I didn't do that either. I still pretty much do that. So vegetarian pretty much, but I eat fish, so that's it. But I don't really eat meat. So
fish is like a vegetable too.
Yeah. So yeah, I do all those things. Okay. I'm that person that like will give something up for Lent and then not have it again for like 5 years. Like 1 year when I was in college, I gave up dessert because at the food court in college, like the only good food was the dessert. And I would find myself having like four desserts. And they're like, okay, I need to quit that. Didn't have another dessert for like 5 years. It was crazy. I'm that guy.
You know what I realized? I didn't realize, like, before I got married, how broke I really was. Like, I just kind of figured, like, oh, that's life. So, like, when you go out with, like, a group of people, or you going out to eat, or anytime I'm at a restaurant, I literally never, ever got an appetizer. I never, ever got a dessert. I'm like, wow, that just doesn't make any sense. And I just realized, like,
yeah, same here. I never did that either.
Like, oh, that must be like, it was never for a health reason. Because then all of a sudden I got money. I was like, oh, I suppose I could get those. Yeah, why not? You know,
Right.
the extra
Right.
calamari. Why not?
Right.
You know, this one's fried, or this one's grilled, not fried.
Yeah.
Which is way better. Anyway, I'm good at derailing. We don't need to derail
That's
anymore.
fine. No, not today. But yeah, we're already a little late. But so it's crazy just thinking back, just looking at that number. Inside Scoop episode 187. We're only 3 away from CTE, which is pretty funny. So they had a couple months on us. So we just staying
Yeah.
consistent, man, having fun and doing what we love to do. So thank you guys to everyone who listens, watches, shares. And also, guys, too, go on your whatever podcast platform you use and write a review and give us a rating, because we really appreciate that. And share the show. Share, this show, the video here on YouTube, and also share.
We will feature your review.
Yeah.
You guys leave a review, we'll feature it for sure.
Yep, definitely. All right. So, as you know, we are sponsored by Virtual Fight Tour. They did a great job doing the Last Man Standing, and we are going to have on at about 9:30 the chief official of the VFT, and that is my good friend Akin Williams, national fighter, national fighting champion, and Team Elite member. Lots of great things that this guy's done, and he's going to kind of give his point of view on the weekend, and then just talk about what we love doing here, sport martial arts. So, all right. So let's get into a little bit, because we talked a lot on CTE about, the fighting and stuff. There was a lot to do on forums, and yes, the Grandmaster. Some of the big takeaways for the weekend for me. All right. So again, very difficult going back and forth from the main ring to the side ring, but that's just the way it is at that tournament. That's how it's going to be probably forever, right? Unless they tear down that side of the hotel and make it all one big, huge ballroom. That's probably just the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
Now,
but that's not going to happen either.
Probably not. But so there's Akin. So that part was a little tough, having being really kind of quiet, but the seniors all be in our own room there. But man, we had a good time competing that Saturday. All right. So the first division was the traditional weapons. Sam killed the weekend. Okay. He won both the forms and the weapons grand for the 30 plus. Sam Diaz. And I was second most of the weekend to him. All right. So that was kind of how it was. So that's how my weekend was. Very second place. And it was not, it was a consistent weekend, but it wasn't the results I wanted. But I'm taking those steps up. So got second to him in the traditional forms, which was a great division. Then I ran into the other room. Oh, actually, no, I did creative weapons next. And it was myself and Nick Kane, which this is funny just because we're almost like 9 years apart. So this is like my last year in the 30s and his first year in the 30s. And it's weird because years ago, it was the other way around when he was moving up to I remember his first tournament as an adult, especially on the NBL circuit. So, but we kind of joked that this is almost just like an NBL regional tournament that we used to do on the East Coast, with just us two doing weapons against each other, which is kind of what happened. So he went first. His first or maybe second move, he cracked his bow. I knew the sound because I've competed against him so many times. Like, oh, he cracked it. And so he was doing a solid form. And I was like, dude, don't do that final release that you're going to do in your form. I know, like, if you do that, it's gonna slide. Don't do it. And he did it. He should have just finished the form. And so, I kind of had a, I just had to make sure I kept my weapon in my hand, and I still did a good form and everything, but it was just one of those things. So, I mean, that's just competing with Nick. Sometimes he's going to break his bow. I've seen him break his bow so many times, but
who breaks their bow the most or has broken it the most?
He's got to be up there, 'cause I've seen it a lot. The other person, I guess you maybe would say Jackson. He's broken his a lot. I've seen him break it a lot.
He has broken his quite a few times.
Yeah. So I would say those two guys. I don't know. I can't think of anyone else right now. Maybe some insiders can put who has broken their bow the most.
I think I've
But
seen Reed break his.
possibly when he did single bow. Yeah. I don't know if, I mean, I'm sure breaking a double bow is,
No, it wasn't during a double bow.
yeah. Yeah. Definitely maybe
This
the
was
single
early.
bow.
This was early
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah. So that's what happened there in that division, in the senior stuff for myself. Went over to the adult Korean division, and you know, we talked about, you know, just kind of being on a good streak, and you know what, that streak had to end. So it was a very interesting day for me. I'm happy for William Smart, who won the Korean division. He's been second place to me the past almost 2 years now, and he's worked his butt off to get to that point. So he won by 1/100th. I felt good. Maybe still doing a new form. So the biggest thing on this is like, maybe you shouldn't have done the new form. Maybe, and in your head, when things happen like that, and you're at this level, that's the first thing you kind of go to, but you can't. You got to get past that, because if you keep doing the same form because you're winning, you're going to stay where you're at, right? You have to go forward.
Bingo.
And so for me, I can't just stay there and say, oh, see, I lost because I did this new form. No, the form that morning, honestly, felt the best I've ever done. It was awesome. That on stage, it was a little bouncy and stuff. I had to, adjust a little bit, but I still felt really strong. And it's just, different eyes, different views. One thing I will say, though, and I'm not taking anything away, but this is something not only I noticed in my division, but also in other ones too. And I think it's got to stop, is the judges talking to each other
During
the form, right after a form. So like if they say, oh, I saw a bobble. Okay, well, you keep that
I
to yourself.
didn't.
I didn't. Or, oh, he should win because this, and I'm not saying that was with me, but I saw it in my division. I saw it in other things. That is like, I don't think that's like accidental cheating. You know what I mean?
But
like
it's not even just that
influencing.
you're right when you're saying that, but like, let's just say you and I are seated next to each other, and the form just ends, and I lean over to you and I go, damn, that shit was good. Everybody watching doesn't know that I said that.
Exactly. That's
Everybody
one thing.
watching thinks I just said that guy sucks.
Right.
Because everybody's nervous about what we're about to present as a score. So
Correct.
now they're ready for, oh, this guy's going to screw me. Right. So you're just inviting like unwarranted criticism. So from the moment you sit down in the chair to the moment you stand up, just leave it alone. It's going to be like a half an hour.
But Alex, even that comment you said influences the other judges next year.
Right.
Because maybe they didn't think it was that good. Maybe they were like, okay, that's pretty good. But man, he thinks it was really good. Oh, crap.
I might be leaning over to you saying,
yeah,
man, I need a coffee right about now.
Yeah. Oh.
Which could totally happen. But everybody around doesn't know what I said. And everybody around just thinks I was trash talking them because everybody's nervous about what we're about to present as a score. So sometimes you just gotta, be boring, which is totally not me.
The thing is that there's no reason for them to talk anymore. We have you, Ventex and Matt Action. There's no reason to even get together, look at the scores, and do this. I saw that happen. People even sent me pictures of that they were getting together and talking to the scores in between the rounds. There's no reason to do that. There's no reason to do that anymore. Also, why do you and this other judge got to give the exact same score? You don't. That's like me if I'm a corner judge and I see something and no one, like in sparring, and I see something and I tell everyone, listen, I saw it. So all you guys it's gotta be an automatic point because I saw it. Everyone has their own view and of the form, right?
Word.
So you have to score based off that. That's why I don't see any reason why we have judges in the front anymore. It should be one in the center, two on the corners, either the front corners or the back corners. Why do we do it that way for traditional challenge, but we don't do it that way for all the other traditional divisions and really all the other forms divisions?
Bingo.
Yeah, it makes it better. You get a full all-around view of it. there's so many people that their back heel comes up, their feet are moving, their
Nobody
back
knows.
knees bent.
Nobody
and
knows except for
no one
us
noticed
that are watching it.
because
Like
we're
the
around the
competitors
ring.
know.
Well, and also we have a better view than sometimes the judges, right? So there's just things like that. And here's the deal, guys. I'm telling you this right now, but I'm not just going in here and complaining about it. I already sent the email to Larry and told him my opinion, which I think more of you guys need to do. Don't just get on the internet and say your opinion and thinking that they know. No, send an email, a nice one, not a hateful one. Those aren't ever
It's
looked
hard
at.
because the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So sometimes people perceive it like, if I'm just, nicey nice, like, hey, you might want to think about, it's perceived like they're just going to ignore me.
Right.
But they might ignore you if you start barking too. So why add that stress?
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is too, yes, talk to them about it face to face, but always put it in writing because you always need a backup for that. So that way you can go to it. Right. So that was just one of the things for me on my part. I ran back over there. We did weapons grands and forms grands. Sam and I, he got first, I got second. You had a good weapons grand with Eric Tremblay in there as well. Forms grand also had Andrew Cavalon. So that was kind of what was happening in the senior room. Let's see, Brian Fung won one of the 50 up forms grand. So women's, this is the thing that I heard. All right, so apparently there was in one of the division, there was a 3-way tie 3 times in one of the women's 50 and up traditional division. Okay, and apparently the reason why is because all 3 judges had it all completely flipped, right? So they did their form, 3-way tie. They did it again, exact same thing, 3-way tie. I don't know how they decided. I think one of them bobbled on the next one, but they did it again, and they finally got a winner. Highlight won, and then she ended up winning the overall grand. Okay, yep, I got you. So that was a wild thing that I heard about, right? Let's see. As far as for forms and weapons, some of the people who stood out to me in the finals, it was Dawson Holt, man. This guy pulled out the double sword, and it was legit. It was awesome. He pulled out some moves I've never seen before. Huh?
It was about it?
Oh, yeah. Killed it. Ended up winning the overall CMX Grand. And the thing is, it was awesome. You had these 3 guys that just got picked up a year ago on JPM, and now they're all up there, and you have Dawson pushing the elements, man, pushing it. And then Ben Jones came right out and did probably one of his best forms I've seen him do in a long time. And then Esteban comes out, killed it, and then dropped it on the very last, like one of his last moves. So,
wow.
But man, Dawson Holt, congrats to Dawson for that.
I got to give it to JPM because they picked up like a world amount of people last year when they picked them up.
Yeah.
It's all working out.
Yeah.
Amazing for
them. Definitely.
I mean?
And the ones this year too. So
yeah.
In the women's side, Sammy Smith was back and she won the weapons grand. And then on the form side, Gabrielle Rudolph beat her and won the women's grand the second year in a row of winning the overall. So big ups to them.
There's another pickup too.
Yes, exactly. For forms, CMX forms, Esteban is on a roll, man. Esteban Tremblay won that. But great job to Rashad Eugene for being up there and just putting his own flavor to creative forms, man. I love it.
At one point, we don't have to do it today, but it's just something to think about. Maybe I'm going to probe thought right now. Because you think about it, who are the best forms competitors that are winning championships that aren't on JPM?
Yeah,
it's something to consider.
Right. Okay. In the traditional one, there are. So on the traditional forms, we saw Kaio come back. Man, we haven't seen this kid since I guess before the pandemic. I know he's been competing.
He's supposed to be doing this stuff last year when he was on my fantasy karate team. Thanks.
Right. You picked up
Good
wrong
job.
on that
Good
one.
job, though.
He
Way to go.
looked awesome, dude.
I did see
That
his.
dude was
I did see his
insane.
form though.
And so we're talking about Kaio and Mason in the division, and then we've had Cameron Klaus been great this year, and also Diego be great this year. They're getting third and fourth, and Mason gets second in both divisions to Kaio. Kaio just come out with just on another level, man. So congrats to him for winning the traditional grand and just having a very successful weekend. So we're going to go ahead and invite our guest on today. We got the man, Akin Williams. How you doing, sir?
What's happening, fellas? How you doing?
It's a great time. I'm glad you're here, man.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me on. I truly appreciate it, and it's good to see you guys. Jeff, it was really good to see you this weekend.
Yes,
I don't see you often, but we go way back, buddy.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Man, it's always fun to see you, man, because like always, just it's almost like we're right back to where we were 20 years ago or something, right?
We love this, man. We love this, so it's always fun, man.
That's right. That's right. All right, so Akin, we got lots to talk to you about, but let's just go ahead right into what recently happened and your view of the weekend. I know I saw a post you put out, and just about what did you think of this year's Ocean State Grand Nationals?
So I didn't compete this weekend. I came in to judge the VFT, but I'm halfway still in competition mode. So
right.
Coming into the tournament, I was watching all fighters, especially the senior room. I spent a lot of time in the senior room watching the senior fighters. Those guys were really putting in some work. It was the energy in the room was tremendous. And it's picking up. You have new people, guys who are coming into the 30 plus, some guys who are coming down from like maybe the 50s or the 40s, going into the 30s, mixing it around. And the competitive level was high.
Yeah.
Guys wanted to win. There I don't want to say upsets, but the people, everybody there, if you like my post on Facebook, I tried to remember everybody who was in the divisions, the sparring, because they were all giving it their all.
Yeah.
And damn near all were looking like they could potentially win.
Yeah, there's not like that first round, all right, I'm going to have an easy fight to get warmed up.
No, that doesn't exist.
You can't do that.
It wasn't that in any of those divisions.
No.
I mean, I almost wanted to go to my car and get my stuff because I did have stuff in the trunk, but I didn't. I stayed true to my word for the day, and watching everybody was it was really great. And then I made it into the big room, as you were talking about. You always got to run back and forth, right?
That's right.
Rooms, and those guys were good to see too. All the 18 plus fighters, some of the junior. I got to see some of the junior fighting. But I actually did spend most of my time watching the quote unquote senior divisions that day.
So who stood out to you as far as in that?
It's a great question.
See, that's oh man, why are you guys doing to them? Why are you doing this?
That ain't a hard one. That's just like, who do you think did well?
I was watching as a competitor. So
I see.
Everybody I named was there. They were all doing work. I'm gonna tell you this. Java was there in regular form. I like to call him a bull. He was there in regular form. Julio looked good. But I'm gonna tell you the sneaky guy is Yoskar.
Yeah.
Yoskar is a strong fighter, but then he's very smooth and sneaky, and I love it. You will get hit with some good traditional, if we want to call them traditional techniques, unexpected techniques. I like that guy. I really do like that guy, Yoskar. Troy Whaley there. Going up like the 50s. people don't talk about him enough, but Brian Crum has been making his little rounds.
Yep.
Right? Brian Crum, that's an old name. Look.
Yeah, we had him on the show before, actually.
Yeah, he was out here. He's throwing kicking combinations with spin back kicks and all kind of stuff.
I know.
Yeah.
He's a real Taekwondo guy.
Yeah, always, and it seems like it's always predominantly Ocean State. Oh, whenever Freddie LePan shows his face,
Mm-hmm.
Freddie LePan is drinking some kind of water.
He is, man.
Because he looks like he's still a super lightweight. And he's fighting strong. He's fighting with the energy. Freddie being, wow, this is funny that Jeff, you're here in the elite moment, because he was made on elite. Whenever I see Freddie, which is always usually seems like at Ocean State, mostly, he always comes out and he always looks good, always looks strong. He won, I believe he won the 50+ grand.
Is that what it was? Okay. The 50+.
Yeah.
All
right. Bloody mouth and all. It looked like the late 80s. He had bloody mouth, everything. He put in the work. Like I said, Brian looked good. Java, Julio, you had Anthony Merrick, you had Ryan George, another guy I really like personally.
Yeah.
Ryan George looking good out there. I'm missing a few names just because, here. But I listed on my Facebook as many of them that I could. And I know I left out a few people. Oh, then we had I don't know I forget his last name right now. Demetrius, that rolls with Cameron Dawson.
Yes.
Yeah. 50+. Yeah. Looking good. He's slick too. He's a slick guy.
Right.
But yeah, it was some good thumping. I'm gonna use that word. It was some good thumping going on in the side room.
Yeah, that side room, man. It was like our own little area, our own little hangout. It was funny.
Well, when you say thumping, that's right up your alley.
So you see me smiling.
But it's funny when you were saying like, what you were doing over the weekend. I feel like when I see you at a tournament, Akin, like I never know, like, am I going to see him in an official? Am I going to see him as a coach? Am I going to see him as a competitor? Am I just going to see him hanging? Or it might be all of the above, right?
This is
for
true.
A whole weekend.
Hold on, because I do want to.
Yeah, it's D'Angelo Sumler Muhammad.
D'Angelo. It's not even Demetrius. That's right, D'Angelo. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's why I couldn't find his name when I was trying to tag him, because it was Demetrius. I'm sorry, D'Angelo. I will remember that forever right now. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Back to what you were saying. Yes, it depends on what's going on in life for me, right? I still like to compete. I'm still able. I've been blessed with a certain level of health that if I want to compete, I can.
Right.
I've been in situations where I was a judge. Coaching.
Coach.
And then stepped out and did the coaching with a little fighting, judging, just coming as a competitor, fighting down in the lower divisions, just having fun with it because I've been blessed with the health to still have fun and luckily in many different ways now, coaching, judging, competitor. So yeah, just having fun with it, guys. Like, so for example, I competed, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, at the Philly Pro-Am.
Philly Pro-Am. Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about as well.
Yeah, at the Philly Pro-Am. I won the 50+ grand there, and then I figured I'd take it easy this weekend and just hang out. I had my son with me who he's about to go to college and play football. So he's not competing because, we just want to make sure he stays not injured doing something else. So we hung out for the weekend, came up to the event. I judged later on with the VFT, and we had a really good time. It was really great.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, so I know not this year, but the year before at Philly Pro-Am, you did like 3 or 4 divisions.
Didn't like you every do 18+ all the way up?
I actually did every division.
Yes.
Age-wise.
Age-wise. 18,
50+,
30.
40+, 30+, 18+.
Love it. I love it.
It was a cardio day.
That's right. That's some Larry Tankson stuff, man. That's some stuff you only hear Larry Tankson do. I love it.
If you that's good company right there.
Yep.
Yes. I'll tell you, if you I like to tell people the shoulders that I stand on set those examples of training, being in fairly good shape, regardless of age. So I just try to carry on tradition and pass it on to those that are looking at me coming up. That you try to stay as healthy as possible and you keep moving. Enjoy what you do.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because I mean, when you said, there was a certain amount of thumping, and I said, that's right up your alley. Let's get into the early competition days, man. So what did it look like? How did this whole thing get going with competition?
Meaning in terms of for me?
Yeah.
Oh, so I started martial arts at a young age. I actually started with judo. And then at about 11, 12 years old, I started with my instructor, Master Sabu Lewis, who's a Taekwondo guy. So this is a Taekwondo
show. Yeah.
thing right going on right here.
We got some Taekwondo roots here.
Pay homage to that right there. And he was a competitor. He competed. So the culture in the school was to spar and go to tournaments and so on. So I just naturally, that's what I was doing. And I just progressively got more into it. I just started out at first, I was just competing in New York when New York used to have a lot of tournaments. And then in my later teens, a good guy, Andre Richardson, one day called me up and told me, you need to start traveling outside of New York. So I started going up and down the East Coast. And
about what year is this at this point?
We're talking 88.
Okay.
88. 88. No, I'm sorry. 87. 87.
Right.
Because it was the year that PKL, I go back a ways.
Yep.
The 1 year PKL made the age for adults 16 and up.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So I was 16 and, I started traveling. And, my first nemesis of traveling was Mike Conroy, who I love. But, I had
I think I knew that one.
Darts on it at 16 years old. I'm going to get that guy.
I love it.
And from there, I joined the Philadelphia National Karate Team. I was asked to join the Philadelphia National Karate Team. After that, I became a member of Metro. What
year was that of Metro?
Well, it's funny because I used to work out at Hector's school,
right,
as a guest, because there was a point where my instructors, my dojo, we had a fire and I didn't have any place to train, and Hector opened his door to me like, hey, come on through. So when he had the senior team and the junior team, when it was just the executives and them, I was going to his school like twice a week. So I was almost like an honorary Metro guy already.
Right.
And then, I want to, might have been 96, 97.
So 90,
maybe a little bit before that. Maybe,
it's probably 95, 96, because 96 was when it ended.
95-ish. I think that was the last year that the Battle of Atlanta was in the Dome.
95, yep.
95, because the Dome was my tryout tournament.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, and I wound up, and that division was stacked at back then. You know how divisions were back then. And I wound up fighting Ronald Brady for first and second.
Okay, so you were primarily most of the time in light middle.
Yes. Back then,
I know during the elite days you were light middle. I was just trying to remember.
Yes, both
that.
All that time was like light middle, and that's when the division was crazy. You had Ibi Abdallah in there, Ronald, Marty Eubanks, E.J. Greer, Boogie Frazier. And I'm forgetting a couple of names. Like it was a division where it was like at least 10 guys that you could look at and go, he could win. He could win it, Yeah. And so that day I wound up fighting Ronald for first and second, and then that's when I was officially on Metro.
Nice,
man.
That's
and
cool.
then Metro, as you know, then we moved on to Elite.
Yeah, and at the end of 96 was when Elite happened.
Elite until the end of 99.
99. Yep. Yeah. So explain just that elite group, because you guys, I don't know, just talking to you, talking to Jesse, talking to even to Jody, it was something different about that group, right? Because you guys were all, it was like, I joke, we had our New York team, we had our Maryland team, we had our Midwest team. We kind of had a little bit like, because the first Diamonds we went to in '96, we're this brand new team, and we put out 3 teams. Like, who does that? It's like crazy, right?
Sure did. That was, you remember that, huh?
Yeah.
It was interesting because you had Spencer, who was training with
Gerald
Master Dawson.
Yep.
May he rest in peace.
Yes.
So you had that Maryland unit, and then he loved the New York guys.
Yeah.
So he brought the New York unit. So you had these 2 units who weren't strangers to each other and also liked each other, and they came into one team. So it was a pretty good blend. And then they picked up guys like you brought in Freddie, and then we
later on, yeah.
Oh, what's this guy from the Midwest?
We had Doug Bertrand and we had Joe Alexander. We had 2 guys. Joe Alexander and Doug.
Doug Bertrand, of course. And it was just a nice, tight unit. And then yourself, little Jeff Dawes. Alex, little Jeff Dawes. At how old were you? About 12, 13?
I was 12. Yeah, I was 12. Yes,
Listen,
sir.
I want to tell you now, to this day, I used to hate having to get up to come watch you compete because we were teammates.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Yep.
I got that a lot.
Because this was the era of where I didn't have to get up early.
Right.
Get up early.
You have to.
But it was great watching Jeff, because Jeff consistently did all 3. He would go weapons, forms, and he would fight. So it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And we have this long-lasting camaraderie.
Yes, sir. We do. Yeah, I mean, you guys, it was just cool to be a teammate with you guys, but also just be a fan, seeing like the next level kind of come up,
Yeah.
And what's cool was that '97, you saw that where Jody started making some wins, Frank, having some wins. Frank Jones started having some wins over people.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse Ray, those 4. You also have Hector Santiago Jr. that was on there. That was amazing in those 2 or 3 years he was on the team.
Yes.
You had Jeff Tufts, Mallory Woods.
Mm-hmm.
Gerald was still out there killing it.
Yeah.
Doug was one of the most consistent lightweight fighters there was.
Sure was.
And always was in that top 4. It was many times top 2. Joe Alexander brought like a whole nother realm to the team. It was just, I mean, you have, let's just say, you have a lot of these New York guys, and then you got this guy with a long mullet, right? And it's like, what is going on, right? It was hilarious.
Like, where'd this guy come from, buddy?
Yeah, where'd he come from?
One of these things is not like the other.
And then we have the legends. We have Anthony Price.
Yes.
We have Ibi Abdallah. We have Tony Young. I mean, you have Terry Kramer. We had Terry.
That experience, being on a team with those guys, these were guys that I used to read about in the magazine before ever even leaving New York City.
Correct.
And to be able to just sit next to them and talk to them, to talk to Tony Young, to say something to Tony Young and just have him make the face expressions that were sentences. Tony didn't talk a lot. He just,
that's right.
God, and you might get a no or a yes, but it was a lot of fun getting to know them. Actually, you have to remember when we first started, we also had Coach Plowden.
For a couple of tournaments. Yep.
Yeah. So I and Terry Kramer. So I got
Terry was on there.
That I would read it, that were like superheroes in karate tournaments to me, and that was an awesome experience to be able to get to that point and speak to them personally like that. That was awesome to be honest.
Yeah. It was a cool experience, and that 3 years of, I divide that group that I guess it was 9 years I was on Elite / CJB, and it was like that first 3 years was kind of its own thing, you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, even within that, you could break that down some, because we had some ups and downs of where, we were like the hot team, and I'm just talking about team fighting, the hot team. And then there was some times in like 98 where we were just not doing too good. And then it was like, all
It
right,
was
what's
a
going
learning
on?
experience, man. It was
Yeah, it was a learning experience. And then pull it back up in 99. It was like, all right, it was us
yeah,
and JPM and going for
it
it, you know?
was because
You know, Akin, I had a thought. I
yes,
had a
sir.
thought about Team Elite, like the early Team Elite days. Tell me what you think about this.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about like the team, like we said, like the early Team Elite, right? It couldn't happen without Metro, but Metro was a whole nother animal that can never be recreated. Okay.
Right.
So you can't really compare it to anything ever again.
Yes.
But what's interesting about Team Elite is you can't have the teams like CJB without Team Elite. And how many other teams branched off because of Team Elite? People look at this in professional sports when you talk about like the coaching tree of Greg Popovich, right?
Well,
Look at how many.
before you continue, just your example there. As far as I'm concerned, CJB is Team Elite.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
There was a transition. Like 99 was my last year of consistent competing.
Right.
And people moved certain ways and they just kind of revamped it. Because if you remember, the Elite uniforms said
CJB on it.
Not powered by, but whatever, CJ,
Sponsored by, yeah.
which were the initials of Spencer Arrington's children.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so it was just like the extension.
But then even after that, when you had that, then all of a sudden you have Conroy as a head coach. Good move.
Right.
And then now every other team that Conroy's been the head coach of since.
Okay. Talking about how it filtered down.
It just followed, and just look at how many guys that are still around from those elite days.
Trying to say like native tongues come all the way down to
right.
Is that what you're trying to tell me right now?
No, I'm not. But what I was trying to get to was, if you think about it, like, when people say like, oh, look at the coaching tree of Greg Popovich and all the people who have been affected, as soon as they're around him, like they just have a long lasting career. Well, that's kind of what happened from the people who were influenced and involved and around those Team Elite days. Like when you're starting to,
you have to do the same thing with Next Level, right?
With who?
With Jesse and Next Level.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's part of that as well. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Conroy always goes back to when he finds a team, he kind of always wants to kind of replicate what he had with Elite and CJB, like he's trying to find that. Jesse, you see that in all of his students.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and all of his students know his history.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. I never met D Stacks until like last year. And he came up to me and said, "Hey man, I love what you're doing. I know all about you and it was just like,
yes.
And I mean, he's seen videos of me and it's just like Jesse, just has just appreciation, shows them his history, and that's really cool.
Yes.
And that's a hard thing to do, honestly. Like, it shouldn't be a hard thing, but like when you think about like all your students, sometimes, sometimes they don't know everything that I've done, I mean, about in sport martial arts, just because not all of them are completely into it all like that. But,
well,
yeah.
Well, it's going into like Jesse and the Next Level. Before it was Jesse, it was his instructor.
Yeah. Mike
Dean, who had the same kind of culture. He would pack his whole school on a bus and go to Bluegrass Nationals. He would take his students to tournaments, and Jesse just carried it on. So that's been a tradition and a culture for decades with them, with Sensei Michael Dean and Jesse Ray, Master Michael Dean and Jesse Ray, of how they go.
Yes, sir. All right, so let's talk. There's a couple things. Let's talk about your relationship with another Team Elite member from the past, and everyone wants to know, because all we see on Facebook is y'all two joking with each other. Jody Tension. Let's go.
How did I know that was coming? At first we were going to say Jesse, but then when you said long time, so you're going to have to ask me what exactly. So Those
So
are,
when,
those are
yeah, so like when did you start? I mean, I guess you guys met each other growing up at tournaments, right?
no. So this is exactly Johnny is much better with years.
Okay.
Jesse and I go back to like being in June. Well, Jesse's a little younger than me. I just realized Jesse's about 4 years younger than me. But we go back to being children doing this martial art thing. I met Jody, I think it was maybe 94, 93
Okay.
at karate tournaments. And according to him, he said, I asked him one day, because he wasn't competing. And I was like, yo, what are you doing? Why aren't you competing? I always see you at these tournaments and you're not competing. Little do I know, he was an aspiring guy who wanted to go to compete in martial art tournaments. But at the time, his instructor wasn't competing at tournaments.
Okay.
He was looking for somebody to train with and get into the tournament scene. He would know about the people. He would read magazines and know who was who and whatever. And he was just aspiring. And at that point, I had introduced him to my instructor and told him, like, if he hits it off with my instructor and he comes down to the school, we can train. And that's how I initially got to know and meet Jody. And then, of course, you know, so he would come down to Brooklyn from the Bronx and train at my instructor school where I would go, the Humble Dojo. And he also lived very close to Jesse, and they were friends. So he would work out with Jesse too. And you know, we just been friends through that from that time on, you know. Yeah, and this guy, you know, he's a special personality that starts a lot of hoopla. So now he has people around the world talking about come outside and people calling me the Grandmaster and all kind of stuff. That's all his little brainchild.
Where did the Grandmaster term come from? Why the Grandmaster?
Because I have the glow. No, so all right. So you know what? This is a good place because it can't be debunked now. But one day I walk into the school and he says to me, you know, you're a real Grandmaster. I go, what are you talking about? Get out of here. And he says, from now on, he said, I'm going to make it where everybody calls you the Grandmaster. Watch and see.
So just out of nowhere? It just came like that?
One day I walked into school and he was just like, I don't know, I might have said something or, you know, something I said might have hit his mind. One day he was like, you know, you're a real Grandmaster. And he said, and everybody's going to know you as such.
Oh, wow. And there it is.
So it started with the kids in the school. He'd be like, that's the Grandmaster. I'm like, don't say that. And he'll tell them, who's your instructor? You say what I say. So all the kids were saying Grandmaster. And then he starts putting it on Facebook. And as we know, if you put it on social media, everybody believes it. So it's ridiculous. I mean, it's so bad that I have people at my regular job who call me Grandmaster.
No.
Yes.
This is awesome.
He called me one day and said, laughing, and said that he was talking to one of my instructors, and my instructor said, how's the Grandmaster?
No.
True stories.
That just shows you the power of Jody's influence and how impactful he is on martial arts.
And that is the true story of how it started. So if anybody's out here thinking I walk around saying that I'm like Grandmaster, not that anything's necessarily wrong with that for all the Grandmasters out there, Jody did it. It wasn't me.
That is an amazing story.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's how it started.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
And what's funny is a couple of months ago, I actually got promoted, I guess, to a rank where it applies.
Right.
So it made it even funnier because then he was like, oh, now you're really a Grandmaster. And I'm like, oh, Christ.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Before I get into, I want to talk about, you know, just the VFT,
sure,
being the chief official, and then maybe your view on, you know, the last fight and stuff. I don't know if we want to talk about that or not. We'll see. But over the weekend. But one thing, if people don't know, go and check. There's a video on YouTube out, and it's you versus Matt Winsper. Have you seen this fight? Huh?
That's on YouTube?
That's on YouTube.
Wow.
And it's an awesome fight. This is at like a local karate tournament. I guess he came to train at Jerry's school.
I don't know the year, but I can tell you this. It was Lee Ireland's tournament at Queens College. I had no idea who this person was. He came in there. He's throwing body jabs. He moved slick. He was good. They say I won, but he was doing his thing. Matt Winsper, that's the one and only time I have ever seen Matt Winsper. But we are friends to this day. We talk on Facebook sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I had only met him that one day. That's the only day I've ever seen him in my life.
That is an awesome fight, man. Go out and check that out. Matt Winsper versus Akin Williams. You're wearing like a...
I can tell you exactly what it was.
Like a black and gray.
Lori, new tradition. For some reason, I had a black pants on, and I had a beige top.
Okay, beige, yeah. Beige
top. Used to have, he had a beige uniform, and I liked it, so I got her to make me one. For some reason, I matched it with the black pants. Yeah, I had all kind of colors on that day, and yeah, that's the day I met Matt Winsper, bro. He good guy, man, good guy.
Yeah, that was an epic fight. So everybody needs to go and check that one out. I'm going to find that one and post it tomorrow too.
I didn't know it was on YouTube.
Yeah. I think Jerry had it. So
because I've never seen it.
Jerry does a fantastic job with coming up with old footage, and Jerry has been really kind of leading that. Like, hey, if you've got any old footage, put it out there for the world. Don't let it be lost. And he's right. So that's cool.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
You brought up Jerry's name, and I want to just salute Jerry Fontanez for being an influence for everybody who came after him in New York City Point Sport Karate.
So true.
More than you know, Jeff.
Oh, I'm sure.
I want to just salute him on that. I don't know if I've ever said it to him. I want to salute you, Mr. Fontanez, on traveling the coast, bringing it back to New York, showing us how to do the step through blitzes at that time. For guys who were young like myself, and showing us that you could go out and compete and come back home and so on and so on. I want to salute you on that. Thank you very much.
Dude, I love it. All right, so now the next journey of Akin is, as you're pretty much the chief referee, the head referee of the Virtual Fight Tour. What is that role like, and how did that happen?
So, well, one, it's fun.
Yep.
Tell me what it's like. It's fun. I really enjoy tournament sparring, competition, however we want to call it. I enjoy it. I enjoy sparring, like actually competing. Mm-hmm. I enjoy trying to give the best experience to competitors as the judge, right?
Right.
Trying your best to stick to the rules, calling what I see, whether you agree with me or not. Best believe you're going to get my honest call. I'm not trying to BS you. And keeping a certain level of tradition or etiquette on the floor. So that's about how it is. And how it started, and I didn't really think about this, but when Jesse called me, he said, listen, I want you to be my center. He actually started out, he said, I want you to judge. Mm-hmm. Which turned out that he actually had, so the first VFT, we had the 3 judges, we're there, we know the rules, blah, 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 blah. So the first match, he goes, you're in the center. So I'm thinking each match,
we're going to rotate.
And then after every match, he'd be like, no, you're in the center. No, you're in the center. So after about the third one, I realized he's keeping me in the center, and that his true intentions were to kind of keep me there all the time. So that's how that started. But what was funny was Jesse used to give events a decade ago.
Right.
Well, more than a decade now. And it didn't hit me, but he used me back then as the judge. So I guess he just always liked me as a judge. And he just brought it back, you know? So yeah, it's I have fun. I enjoy judging. And like I said, I just try to do my best in following rules, calling what I see, and try to make it as good of an experience as possible.
Right.
And that also comes with, you know, some people being upset with you sometimes.
It happens.
Or happy with you.
Well, typically when people are upset, they're upset because an outcome didn't happen that they expected they were going to get. Okay. But if you set the tone immediately, right? Like, no, this is the way it's going to be. And now people's expectations can change. So everybody's going to be upset at some point, like, man, I actually did get him first. No, I got him first.
Right.
But you can't really, that argument, it just goes away after a while because you can't just rest on that. Because, yeah, that's true. That's like saying in football, like, oh, he held me. Yeah, it happens 400 times a game, right? Mm-hmm. What are you going to do about it? Like, you can't just rest on, oh, but he held me. We get that. Just like, oh, but I did hit him first. We get that. We're not perfect. Okay. Right. But I think the fact that you just are consistent while not being an a-hole to anyone, because some people are like, no, this is the way, but they're kind of an a-hole, right? And you're not. Like, I don't know anybody who doesn't like you, right?
Right.
Right? There's plenty of people who don't like me, right? But I don't know anybody who's like, man, I can't stand Akin. Never heard that statement ever, right? But at the same point, like, you're not placating to any side. I don't know, Jeff, is that kind of what you feel?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm laughing because I'm thinking about some of my personal friends who called me after some events talking about they should beat me up for giving them warnings and stuff like that. So
that's funny.
So
one of them spoke about earlier.
Yes. Yeah, let's go
to that. No, because that's where I want to go. Because you know, it was funny, Jeff, when you were saying like, oh, Nick Kane was there, and immediately my head went to, oh, I wonder if Nick Kane was reffing. Because Nick Kane he's a pretty good ref, right?
Yeah, he's a WACO certified ref.
Right, he's a pretty good ref. Not everybody needs to be the best competitor, although it helps to be a good ref, right? Not everybody needs to be the best coach to be a good ref, although it can help, right?
Right.
So let's get into the final VFT match. Jeff, you said we were going to talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Sure. Right? So Enrique versus Alex Macias. Yeah.
Listen, this is really, I don't know if you knew this. This is so funny. So CTE, we didn't have the T this week. All right. So Travis wasn't there. All right. So Jeff and I joined Chris and Carlos, right, for the show. And so we're over there talking, and then we see both Alex Macias and Enrique Latona in the chat. So Carlos is like, bring him on, Jeff. So we get him on the show. Now
we get Enrique,
we get Enrique on the show.
Really? Okay.
Right.
Now, just after we're kind of.
I was calling him out.
You were calling him out, and Chris too, about getting injured and stopping the time. Right?
But I said what it was, like getting air quotes injured, right? Like had to stop, right? What was your take on all of that, on what was happening?
All right. So as a center ref in sport karate sparring,
okay,
kind of hard to not tell a competitor that he's not hurt.
Yeah.
Trying to just word it correctly.
Yeah.
So you have to acknowledge it and then maybe not let it go on too long. So, meaning how much time they're actually taking for this. Because you go, hey, stop, time out, something's wrong. All right, I'll look at you for what? What's going on? Nah, come on back. Like you have to check them out if they're saying it, right?
Right.
Because I watched you do that exact thing in VFT before, where I can't remember who the fighter was, but somebody wanted to pause, and you went right up to him and were like, do you need a medic now?
Right.
And they paused for a second, and you went, nope, we're going.
Right. So you have to acknowledge it, right? Because it's a hobby sport.
Right.
So you say you're hurt, we gotta at least acknowledge you a little bit, but maybe not let you take full advantage of this time.
Right.
At Ocean State, Ted, the medic, was doing a great job with being direct. Like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? There's not too much more I can do. You need to get in there. So that was being handled very well that day. And it's a game. So when you're the competitor, if you can get away with whatever it is you can get away with, go ahead. When you're the judge, your job is to try to eliminate as much of the BS as you can. So it's just all part of the game.
Right.
I don't know if that quite answers the question.
Well, it did and it didn't. But I guess what I want to know is like, so, and Enrique acknowledged it too. He took a significant amount of time away from fighting when he should have been fighting. So what do you like? What happened?
I will say this. What did Enrique say?
He said
his ankle was hurting.
Yeah.
Okay.
His base leg. Yeah.
I will say this. Enrique has improved a lot on the amount of time that he takes away. He has improved a lot on lessening.
So for me, I agree because
right.
I didn't notice it as much as I have in the past fights.
Yeah.
To me, that wasn't the big deal. And for those that were actually there, there was some of that.
Judged him more than one time. I've judged him a few times.
Right.
I can see the improvement in not wasting
time
You
as
know
much.
what?
Right.
You are absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I have been ultra critical of that point of his fighting. And one of the reasons
I will also say that it's that's the ref's job to keep a certain level of integrity going, to know that, hey, that game, the whatever we may be doing, we don't do that too much. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, it pisses me off when I see fighters ask for a timeout to flip their shin gear.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or to put the string around their toe on the foot gear. Like, that's not even a reason to stop. To me, like I don't want to sound like an old guy, but I came up in a different era. You didn't even stop for stuff like that.
I was reattaching my foot pad while fighting before. Thing came off. I didn't pause. I just put the thing back on while the match is going.
Yeah, you move around.
You just go.
And go. So, but I think I will be critical of this. Judges need to be more assertive.
Right.
Okay.
We have got. I think I've been doing this long enough to say that there was a time where everybody wasn't allowed to judge because either they had to know you, see you, whatever. Mm-hmm. Then we got to a point where you didn't have enough judges, so then you were just happy to have somebody who wanted to help
we
out.
had a lot more divisions.
So when you start just having people who are just happy to help out, those are fans.
Right. Right.
And fans will treat their celebrities a little differently. They become easily told what to do. That's where you see judges spending a lot of time explaining. When somebody goes, "Oh, you didn't see that?" They got to turn and go, "No, I didn't see it. What, you don't think I called the right call?"
Right.
You don't do that.
Right.
That's not black belt excellence. You call what you see, and that's it. If they didn't like it, we're martial artists. We're supposed to be able to ignore criticism when it's negative, right?
Yep.
Because it might save your life. We teach our students that, right? Be alert, but you don't have to engage all the time, and so on and so on. So it's very, you know, and we just need more real karate people, excuse me.
I love it. So one of the things though, and I think people didn't really notice this unless you were there, that wasn't the only thing that was or complained about or what was happening after the match about him pausing. It was something else too, right?
So it was well, one,
it was about, it was about Troy being in there, but that was already.
Oh, I can address that. I can address that.
Yeah.
So, and we all spoke about this, so I think it's safe for me to actually speak on it.
Yeah.
Troy apparently is a member of Top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he is also a judge team member. Like, he's a VFT judge.
Right.
Yep.
The thing of, so when we normally do the VFTs and then, you know, they're the set matches.
Yeah.
We already know, like, hey, that's your student or your affiliation, so we're gonna rotate such and such out. Like, it's pre-game, it's pre-framed for the VFT events.
Because they're set. Yeah.
Right.
Set fights.
The thing that happened this weekend with Troy winding up in the ring with Enrique sparring, which would have made them top 10.
Right.
One, we didn't know what the match is going to be.
Right. You knew the judges before you knew the competitors.
And also we didn't know that we were up when we were up.
Right.
When they said VFT fighters get up, I was having a conversation chilling. I didn't even know it was that we were supposed to be up yet. So that was like about a 5 minutes in between knowing that it was going to be Enrique and Alex fighting, and then us getting on stage. And then we got on stage and we're explaining the rules and blah, 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 and we get started. So it never really entered the mind about the affiliation.
Right.
Because we tried to be above that.
Was that even brought up by the coaches before or no?
No, it wasn't brought up before.
Yeah. And that's what, because you guys were, that was my only thing. I was like, but you guys were all there talking to each other for a good 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Right.
You know, so and now again, sometimes it slips your brain or whatever, but that is the job to ask that, you know.
I'm going to tell you what, because I had a nice conversation with Damon.
Yeah.
After behind the stage, and when we were talking about that issue, I explained actually Jesse explained that, and I reiterated it, and what I basically said was, you're absolutely right, and it was a human oversight.
Right.
And I said, and it might have been nice, not that he was obligated to, but it might have been nice if he had said it.
Right.
And we probably would have taken care of it, but it was just an oversight. It was really human error oversight.
Okay. But wait a minute though, Akin. Isn't the goal to have the best possible judges judging
Alex,
the last man standing?
I hear you, but it will also, it's also best for us to be above suspicion.
Yep. It's just like what we were talking about with the forms thing.
Yeah.
With the judges talking to each other, right? It's the exact same situation, just
also
different.
Best.
Yeah, you're right.
Be above suspicion.
Correct.
And so there's never going to be an argument. All you can do in that situation, all we can explain is what happened, and dang, that was we didn't see it. We slipped up there.
Right.
Wow. Maybe if you would have said it, we would have fixed it, because that's what we do in the VFTs.
Right.
You never see that happening.
No.
So
no.
And it was, it was an oversight. We explained it. We apologized. I think we were clear on that with the conversation.
With that, yeah. Because again, we didn't know that all the spectators saw was Damon being upset about it, after the fact, which I get.
That wasn't the place to have the conversation.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. At that point, it's
no
calling what we call.
done.
Match is over. Well, we could go back and talk, and that's what we did. We had in my opinion, we had a great conversation in the back where everybody got to speak their opinions, their facts, everything. So even look at video. And
well, I think the best thing is after everything's done, after the dust is settled, to look back and go, did the right fighter win? And I think the right fighter won.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, and then that's for this weekend, right? And then the next weekend, it could be something different. So that's what's great about this sport. All right, Akin, we're gonna wrap up. Cool. But one thing, this has been fun, man. We could do multiple episodes. This is awesome.
It is fun talking to you guys.
Yes. The other thing is, I want to ask though, how different is it judging the last man standing on a stage than in the cage for the regular VFT? Like, because there are some rules that you kind of have to add in.
The biggest thing is because VFT, when we're in New York, you're in a ring. So we never have to deal
with cage,
whether we're in the cage. We never have to deal with whether you're outside or inside.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a hot topic right now in NASCAR. It's like a brand new rule, and it's the one everyone focuses on more than any rule right now.
But and you also have to remember that if you're trying to relate it back to the VFT match, the outside rule is different.
Yeah, exactly.
As far as the 1 foot, both feet, so on and so on. So, Yeah.
That's why, it's a big change, but everyone, I think that is hard to know the different rules for the different things, but at the same time, that's just part of it. You know what I mean? That's what makes the VFT last man standing exciting. It's not just, one extra round. It's 3 rounds, and I said it on the show Monday, was that you could tell Enrique was getting ready for last man standing in his grand fight. He was trying to get that thing done. He got that thing done in 30 seconds. So
he sure did, didn't he? He did. Yeah. But it's always fun. It's always a pleasure. It feels good to mix it up with the guys, just being the third guy in the ring. Personally, I do watch as a competitor. So I'm watching these guys move, and I'm feeling timing, and I'm watching with different kind of what I would think of like fighter eyes, active fighter eyes. It's really fun. I mean, it's the next best thing to actually mixing it up.
Nice.
I got a couple of rapid fire questions.
Sure.
Okay. This is just going to be like Akin Williams' favorites. Okay. Right. What is your favorite sport karate team of all time?
My favorite sport karate team of all time. Metro.
All right.
Your favorite female. This is not best. I'm not saying do you think is best. Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite female fighter of all time?
Favorite female fighter of all times. Oh shucks. Why can't I say her first name right now? Price's daughter.
Oh, Noreen. I mean, Nancy.
See, that I was gonna say Noreen.
Yeah, you're gonna say Noreen. Yeah.
Okay. Favorite male fighter of all time.
Favorite male fighter of all time.
This is the hardest.
God. Favorite male. You know what? I'm gonna give this up. Because it's funny. I was just talking about how I don't think I ever really spoke to this guy until we were older. Pedro.
Page
All right.
Road
I had a feeling you were going to say it. I had a feeling. Yeah.
I have to say that looking back, because when he was doing it and we were competing, I was looking at him as the, possible competition. We were never consistently in the same division, but he was also always possible competition and from Boston. Right. If you know about the New York Boston thing in the 90s. So, but looking back on it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Doesn't have to be yours, but favorite coach of all time. Maybe it's you.
So
that's the one part of your history we haven't touched on is your coaching.
I have two favorites.
Okay, go for it.
And these two are Jesse Ray and Richard Plowden.
I knew you were going to say them.
And because during my coaching time, there are times where I would just sit next to them and just see what was going on and how they relate to, like, I had to learn to calm down. Right? I had to learn to calm down. And I picked that up from both of them in that and just watch how they handle their players.
Right.
And yes, Jesse and trust me, I never had like a sit down where we were just talking. I just was watching.
Right.
And yes, Jesse and Coach Plowden.
I did the same thing with both of them. Just from afar, just looking, just watching them,
Being that I Coach Plowden, I know you know that size. Let's go.
needs that uniform. That's right.
I've been telling them that for about 8 years now.
That's right. I love it. Oh man, this has been so much fun, Akin, man. Thank you for joining us, man, and just thank you for just doing what you do, bringing positive energy to martial arts, to sport martial art.
That's what it's about, man. We supposed to martial art world. We supposed to have integrity. We supposed to respect each other. We supposed to be we're supposed to be the best human beings we can be.
Yes, sir.
Above all of this other stuff. So let's remember that. Let's keep the integrity into this thing we do. Let's not get too caught up in the glitz and the glamour, because it's BS at the end of the day. When you wind up number one and realize there's nothing really there but the love for what we do, you come back to it with love, or you left it because you was fake. So figure out who you are, get on out of here, and let us love what we do. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Well, I love it, Akin. All right, Alex.
This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. Thank you, Akin. See you guys next week.
Guys, have a good one.
Yes, sir.